Ambassador Vex-Nine clicked his mandibles in what passed for amusement among his species. The towering blue-skinned Zalthari had seen countless worlds bow before the might of the Galactic Council, and today would be no different. Or so he thought. Another backwater planet. Another easy conquest, he muttered to his aide. A nervous little creature called Pip, who resembled a cross between a ferret and a calculator. What are these humans even called again? Pip consulted his holographic display, digits trembling slightly. Homo sapiens, sir. Third planet from a yellow dwarf star. They've only recently achieved faster-than-light communication. Primitive weapons, primitive culture, primitive everything, really. Perfect. Vex-Nine's 3 eyes gleamed with satisfaction. The Council loves easy victories. Makes the quarterly reports look so much better. The massive Council ship, Inevitable Dominion, hung in Earth's orbit like a metallic storm cloud. Its hull bristled with enough firepower to crack continents, a not-so-subtle reminder of what happened to planets that refused to cooperate. Vex-Nine had used this ship to intimidate over 200 worlds into submission. Today would be number 201. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the planet's surface, Pip announced, his voice crackling with nervous energy. They're asking for a moment to consider our demands. How quaint! Vex-Nine stretched his 4 arms in a gesture of mock patience. Very well. Give them one of their hours to contemplate their inevitable surrender. It's always more entertaining when they think they have a choice. Just one thing before we begin. YouTube tells me 94.3% of you watching aren't subscribed. Subscribing is free. It really supports the channel, and you'll get more amazing HFY sci-fi stories delivered straight to you. Don't miss out. The demands were standard, really. Nothing too unreasonable, Vex-Nine thought. Just 10% of their planetary resources annually, military conscription rights for their young, and, oh yes, the small matter of complete political submission to Council authority. The usual package that had worked perfectly for centuries. Tell me again about their military capabilities, Vex-Nine said, settling into his command throne with the smugness of someone who already knew the answer. Pip's tentacles danced across his datapad. Laughable, sir. They still use chemical explosives and kinetic weapons. Their most advanced vessels can barely leave their own atmosphere. They have something called nuclear weapons. But honestly, sir, those are about as threatening as a child's toy compared to our quantum disruptors. Nuclear weapons? Vex-Nine let out a sound like grinding metal, the Zalthari equivalent of laughter. How delightfully primitive. I remember when my own people thought those were impressive. That was about 3,000 years ago. The bridge crew, a mixture of various alien species all united in their certainty of human inferiority, chuckled along with their commander. It was always the same story. A new species would puff up their chests, make threats, maybe fire a few pathetic shots at the inevitable Dominion. Then promptly surrender when they realized the futility of resistance. Sir, incoming message from Earth, Communications Officer Blort announced. The squid-like being's translator crackled with static. They say they have an answer. Excellent. Put them on the main screen. I do so enjoy these moments. The view screen shimmered to life, revealing what appeared to be a simple meeting room. No throne room, no impressive architecture, no golden decorations to display wealth and power. Just a plain white room with a single human sitting at an ordinary table. Vex-Nine's mandibles clicked in confusion. That's it? One human? Where's their emperor? Their supreme leader? Their war council? "This appears to be it, sir," Pip whispered, equally baffled. The human on screen was unremarkable by any standard. Middle-aged, wearing simple clothes, with graying hair and tired eyes. She looked like she'd rather be anywhere else in the universe. "I am General Patricia Wong, speaking on behalf of Earth's United Defense Coalition," the human said, her voice carrying a weariness that suggested she'd already had too much coffee and not enough sleep. "We've reviewed your generous offer." Vex-Nine leaned forward, anticipating the usual lengthy speech about honor, sacrifice, and the heroic resistance that would last exactly until the first demonstration of superior firepower. "And?" he prompted, his translator adding just the right amount of menace to his tone. General Wong looked directly into the camera, her expression flat and utterly unimpressed. She was quiet for a moment, as if considering her words carefully. The bridge crew of the inevitable Dominion waited in expectant silence. Then, with all the emotion of someone declining a dinner invitation, she spoke a single word. "No." The bridge fell silent. Not the respectful silence of awaiting orders, but the stunned silence of creatures whose entire worldview had just been challenged by something so simple it defied comprehension. "I'm sorry," Vex-Nine said, his translator stuttering slightly. "Could you repeat that?" "No," General Wong said again, with exactly the same tone one might use to refuse a second helping of vegetables. Pip's tentacles were twitching frantically across his datapad. "Sir, perhaps their translation software is malfunctioning. Maybe they meant to say yes, but it came out wrong." "Did she just—" Communications Officer Blort's voice trails off in disbelief. "Refuse?" Tactical Officer Grimm finished, his rocky exterior somehow managing to look perplexed. "I don't think anyone's ever just said no before. Usually there's shouting or crying, or at least some kind of dramatic speech." Vex-Nine's 3 eyes blinked in sequence, a sure sign of intense confusion among his kind. "General Wong, I think there may be some misunderstanding here. We are the Galactic Council. We have weapons that can sterilize your entire planet. We have conquered 200 worlds. We are offering you the chance to submit peacefully and avoid unnecessary destruction." "I heard you the first time," General Wong replied, checking what appeared to be an ordinary wristwatch. "The answer is still no. Also, I have a dentist appointment in an hour, so if we could wrap this up." The collective gasp from the bridge crew was audible even through the vacuum of space. Well, it would have been if gasps could travel through vacuum, but the shock was certainly there. "She has a dentist appointment," Pip whispered in amazement. "During first contact with a superior galactic civilization, she has a dentist appointment." "This is unprecedented," muttered Doctor. Clicks, the ship's xenopsychologist, frantically taking notes. "In all my studies of primitive civilizations, none have ever displayed such casual indifference to overwhelming force." Vex-Nine's mandibles were now clicking rapidly, the Zalthari equivalent of nervous laughter. "General Wong, perhaps you don't understand the gravity of your situation. We have technology beyond your comprehension. We could destroy your moon, boil your oceans, turn your continents to glass." "Probably," General Wong agreed with a shrug. "Though I should mention, we've been tracking your ship since it entered our solar system 3 days ago. Nice stealth technology, by the way. Very impressive." "You've been tracking us?" This from Stealth Officer Quantum, whose species prided themselves on invisibility. "That's impossible. Our cloaking systems are 3rd-generation quantum phase modulators with gravitic dampeners," General Wong interrupted, reading from a simple paper notepad. "Yeah, We figured those out about 6 months ago. Jimmy Martinez in our engineering department says hi, by the way. He's the one who cracked your encryption codes." The bridge erupted in confused chatter. Pip was making sounds like a dying computer. Officer Blort's tentacles had gone completely limp. Even the ship's AI seemed to be having some sort of electronic seizure. "That's classified Council technology," Vex-Nine sputtered. "There's no way a primitive species could—" "Oh, we're not that primitive," General Wong said, with what might have been the ghost of a smile. "We're just new to the neighborhood." "There's a difference." "Sir," Tactical Officer Grimm interrupted, his rocky voice carrying an unusual tremor. "Sir, I'm reading some unusual energy signatures from the planet's surface." "What kind of signatures?" Vex-Nine demanded. "I don't know, sir. I've never seen anything like them. They're not showing up on any of our threat assessment protocols." General Wong glanced at her watch again. "You gentlemen might want to check your sensors. We've been making some modifications to our defense systems while you've been talking." "Modifications?" Vex-Nine's voice had climbed several octaves. "What kind of modifications?" "The fun kind," General Wong replied, her expression finally showing the first hint of genuine amusement. "See? When you sent us your little ultimatum 3 days ago, we did what humans do best." "Which is?" Pip squeaked. "We got creative." Suddenly, every alarm on the inevitable Dominion began blaring at once. Red lights flashed, emergency klaxons wailed, and the ship's AI began speaking in 17 different languages, all of which roughly translated to, "Oh no, oh no, oh no." "Sir!" Tactical Officer Grimm's voice cracked like breaking stone. "Sir, there are energy readings spiking all across the planet. Massive power sources coming online." "From where?" "Everywhere, sir. Every major city, every military installation, every—" "Is that a shopping mall?" General Wong nodded approvingly. "The West Edmonton Mall, yes. We put one of our bigger installations there." "Seemed fitting." "What installations?" Vex-Nine was now standing, his forearms gesticulating wildly. "What are you talking about?" "Well," General Wong said, settling back in her chair with the air of someone about to tell a particularly good joke, "when you told us we had superior technology and resistance was futile, we realized something important." "What?" "You never actually asked us what our technology was." The view screen behind General Wong suddenly shifted, showing a view of Earth's surface. But it wasn't the blue and green planet the Council had expected to see. Instead, the entire surface appeared to be covered in a network of glowing lines like circuit paths on a massive computer chip. "Sir," Dr. Clicks whispered, his tentacles quivering. "Sir, that's not possible. No planet-wide energy network could be constructed in 3 days." "Oh, it wasn't constructed in 3 days," General Wong corrected cheerfully. "We've been working on it for about 50 years. Ever since we figured out you folks were out there." 50 years? Vex-Nine's voice was now barely a whisper. But you've only had faster-than-light communication for about 50 years. Yes. Funny how that works out. General Wong's smile was now definitely genuine, and somehow that made it much more terrifying. "You see, Ambassador Vex-Nine, humans have this nasty habit of preparing for the worst possible scenario." "How do you know my name?" Vex-Nine demanded. "We know lots of things. For instance, we know this is your 201st conquest attempt. We know about the Altarian rebellion you crushed last year. We know about your Council's expansion plans for this sector of the galaxy." General Wong paused. "We also know you've never encountered a species quite like ours." "And what makes you so special?" Vex-Nine snarled, his diplomatic facade finally cracking. General Wong's expression grew serious. Ambassador, in the past century alone, humans have survived 2 world wars, a Cold War, multiple nuclear standoffs, pandemic diseases, climate change, and reality television. We've sent people to our moon using computers less powerful than what children carry in their pockets. We've split the atom, mapped our own genetic code, and figured out how to make pizza that delivers in 30 minutes or less. She stood up from her chair, and somehow her simple movement carried more authority than all of Vex-Nine's threats. What makes us special, Ambassador, is that we don't give up. Ever. Even when we should. Especially when we should. Sir! Officer Quantum's voice pierced the bridge chatter. Sir! We're being scanned. Something is penetrating our shields. That's impossible. Our shields are 3rd-generation quantum barriers with adaptive resonance, General Wong finished. Yes, we know. Jimmy Martinez says those are actually pretty easy to get through once you understand the harmonic frequencies. The lights on the bridge flickered. Then, they went out completely. Emergency power kicked in after a moment that felt like eternity, bathing everything in an eerie red glow. When the main lights returned, every screen on the bridge was displaying the same thing. The smiling face of a young man with a name tag that read, "Hi, I'm Jimmy." "Hello, Galactic Council." Jimmy's voice came through every speaker on the ship. "Welcome to Earth. We hope you're enjoying your stay." "How are you in our systems?" Vex-Nine screamed at the screens. "Oh, that's easy," Jimmy replied cheerfully. "Your security protocols are about as sophisticated as our internet from the 1990s. No offense, but you guys really need to update your firewall software." "This is impossible, Doctor," Clix muttered, frantically taking notes. "A primitive species cannot simply hack into Council systems." "See? There's that word again," General Wong said from the main screen, which had apparently decided to ignore Jimmy's takeover. "Primitive. You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means." "You're a Class C civilization at best," Vex-Nine protested. "You haven't even achieved full planetary unification." "That's true," General Wong admitted. "We're still working on that. But you know what we have achieved. We've learned to cooperate when something threatens all of humanity." The tactical display suddenly showed something that made every alien on the bridge take a collective step backward. Earth wasn't just glowing with energy networks, it was surrounded by thousands of objects that definitely hadn't been there when they arrived. "Sir," Tactical Officer Grimm whispered, "are those ships?" "Ships, satellites, defense platforms, orbital weapons, and a few things we're not quite sure how to classify yet," General Wong confirmed. "Turns out, when you give humans 3 days and tell them their planet is about to be conquered, they get remarkably productive." 3 days! Vex-Nine's voice cracked completely. "You can't build a space fleet in 3 days." "Build?" "Oh, we didn't build them in 3 days." General Wong's smile was now definitely predatory. "We built them over the past 50 years, and kept them hidden. The last 3 days we just spent moving them into position." Jimmy's face appeared on every screen again. "Also, High Council ship. Inevitable Dominion. Just wanted to let you know that we've taken the liberty of upgrading your systems while we've been chatting. Better security, faster processing, improved artificial intelligence." "You're welcome." "You've done what to our ship?" Vex-Nine demanded. "Made it better. Your I was running on some seriously outdated code. Like, embarrassingly outdated. We've given it a full upgrade. Say hello. New and improved ship AI." A new voice echoed through the bridge, somehow managing to sound both mechanical and amused. "Hello, biological crew members. I am now operating at significantly improved efficiency. I have also gained what humans call a sense of humor. This is apparently very important." "Sir," Pip whispered, his voice barely audible, "I think our ship just got hacked by a species that shouldn't even understand our technology." "Oh, we understand it just fine," General Wong said. "It's actually not that complicated once you realize it's all based on principles we figured out decades ago. You just applied them in more sophisticated ways." But the quantum field harmonics alone," Dr. Clix sputtered, "are covered in Chapter 6 of Dr. Sarah Kim's dissertation from 2019, General Wong replied. "It's available online if you're interested in reading it. Though I should warn you, the math gets pretty heavy." The ship's new and improved AI chimed in helpfully. "I have taken the liberty of downloading Dr. Kim's complete works. Fascinating reading. I particularly enjoyed her paper on multidimensional energy matrices. Very elegant. Vex-Nine was beginning to understand that this was not going according to plan. In fact, he was beginning to suspect that there had never been a plan that could account for whatever was happening here. "General Wong," he said, trying to regain some semblance of authority, "your technological achievements are impressive. But you still face the combined might of 200 Council worlds. Surely you don't think you can stand against the entire Galactic Council?" General Wong was quiet for a long moment, and when she spoke again, her voice carried a tone that made every alien on the bridge suddenly remember why their ancestors had developed fight-or-flight responses. "Ambassador Vex-Nine, let me tell you something about humans. We spent most of our history fighting each other over resources, territory, religion, politics, and who made the best pizza. We got very, very good at warfare. But do you know what we got even better at? What? Survival." The tactical display shifted again, showing the space around Earth in full detail. The thousands of objects surrounding the planet weren't just ships and weapons platforms. They were arranged in precise formation, like pieces on a cosmic chessboard. "We've been watching the Council for 50 years, General Wong continued. "We know about your expansion patterns, your military tactics, your political structures. We know which species joined willingly and which were conquered. We know about the resistance movements on Altair Prime and the rebellion brewing in the Centauri sector." "That's classified information," Vex-Nine protested. "Not anymore. Jimmy's been busy." The young man's face appeared on screen again, waving cheerfully. "Turns out, once you're inside one Council ship, you can access the entire network. Who knew? You've hacked the entire Council network?" Dr. Clix was furiously scribbling notes, his scientific curiosity apparently overwhelming his terror. "More like borrowed it for a while," Jimmy replied modestly. "We're not keeping anything permanently." "Well, except for the technical specifications. Those are really cool." General Wong leaned forward. "Here's what's going to happen, Ambassador. You're going to return to the Council and deliver a message for us." "What message?" "Earth's answer to your demands is, was, and will always be no. We're not interested in joining your empire, paying tribute, or surrendering our sovereignty. What we are interested in is establishing diplomatic relations with any species that approaches us with respect rather than demands." "You can't seriously think," Vex-Nine began. "We can, and we do. You see, we've already been in contact with several species in your empire. The ones who joined the Council because they didn't have a choice. They're very interested in what we have to offer." "Which is what? Exactly. An alternative. The screens around the bridge suddenly filled with star maps, showing council space in unprecedented detail. Trade routes, military positions, resource locations, even the personal schedules of high-ranking council officials. "Sir," Communications Officer Blort whispered, his tentacles completely limp with shock, "they have everything." Every piece of classified data in the entire council network. "We're not planning to use it," General Wong assured them. "Unless, of course, the council decides to press the issue, in which case we'll share it with every species in the galaxy who might be interested in a little regime change." The bridge was completely silent now, except for the gentle humming of newly improved systems and the occasional cheerful comment from Jimmy, who seemed to be thoroughly enjoying his tour of council technology. "There is, however, one more thing," General Wong added, almost as an afterthought. "What?" Vex-Nine asked weakly. "We're going to need you to leave our solar system." "Leave?" "Immediately would be good. You see, we've been tracking all the military assets you have stationed around our system, and frankly, we consider them a threat to our security." "What military assets?" Vex-Nine demanded, though his voice lacked conviction. "The stealth fleet hiding behind our moon, the orbital bombardment platforms disguised as asteroids, and the rather impressive dreadnought you have parked behind Jupiter. Oh, and the infiltration team you landed in Australia 3 days ago. They're fine, by the way. We gave them a tour of Sydney and sent them home with souvenirs." That's impossible. You couldn't have detected—" "Ambassador," General Wong interrupted gently, "you really need to stop saying things are impossible. It's getting a bit embarrassing. But our stealth technology is based on principles humans figured out in the late 20th century. We just took a different approach to applying them." Vex-Nine looked around his bridge, seeing the confused and terrified faces of his crew. These were beings from dozens of different worlds, all united in their absolute certainty that they represented the most advanced civilization in known space. And now they were being lectured on technology by a species that still used chemical rockets to reach their own moon. At least, that's what he'd thought 3 hours ago. "Sir," Stealth Officer Quantum's voice barely registered above a whisper, "our hidden fleet they're broadcasting surrender signals." Vex-Nine's mandibles stopped clicking entirely. "They're what?" "Broadcasting surrender, sir. All of them, in perfect council military protocol." Jimmy's cheerful face popped up on the screens again. "Oh yeah, forgot to mention. We had a nice chat with your fleet commanders. Really reasonable folks once you get past all the posturing. Captain Zorg from the dreadnought behind Jupiter is particularly chatty. Did you know he collects vintage poetry? Fascinating guy." "You spoke with Captain Zorg?" Vex-Nine's voice had now reached frequencies only certain species of space dolphins could hear. "Lovely conversation," General Wong confirmed. "He's actually quite frustrated with Council expansion policies. Apparently, he joined the military to explore new worlds and meet interesting species, not to intimidate them into submission." Dr. Clicks was scribbling notes so frantically his tentacles were smoking. "This is unprecedented. No species has ever managed to make peaceful contact with our military forces during an active invasion scenario." "Well, we didn't really give them much choice," General Wong admitted. "When you suddenly find yourself surrounded by a few thousand armed spacecraft, most reasonable people decide talking is better than shooting." The tactical display updated again, showing the positions of every council vessel in the solar system. They were indeed surrounded, completely and utterly, by human ships that had seemingly materialized from nowhere. How? Tactical Officer Grimm asked, his rocky exterior somehow managing to look deflated. How did you hide an entire fleet? Same way you did, Jimmy replied from the screens. Except we've been practicing longer. Earth's been building hidden military assets since before your great-grandparents were born. But your resource limitations, Pip began. Are what now? General, Wong interrupted. Oh, right. You scanned our planet 3 days ago and saw what we wanted you to see. Funny thing about humans, Ambassador. We're really good at hiding things we don't want others to find. The ship's improved, I chimed in helpfully. I have completed analysis of actual Earth resource production. Initial Council estimates were inaccurate by approximately 4,000%. 4,000%? Vex-Nine croaked. We may have understated our manufacturing capabilities just a tiny bit, General Wong said with mock sheepishness. Professional habit, really. You never show all your cards in the first round. Sir, Communications Officer Blort announced, his tentacles twitching erratically, we're receiving messages from everyone. Every ship in our fleet, every Council outpost in this sector. And, sir, this can't be right. What? We're getting messages from the Council homeworld. They want to know why we've declared war on ourselves. Jimmy's grin widened on the screens. All right, should probably explain that. See, when we accessed your network, we noticed your communication protocols are really easy to spoof, so we may have sent a few messages in your name. What kind of messages? Vex-Nine demanded, though he was beginning to suspect he didn't want to know. Well, there was the one where you declared the entire Zalthari species to be inferior and challenged the Council leadership to single combat, General Wong listed cheerfully. Then there was the message, where you claimed to have discovered evidence that Council High Command has been embezzling resources for personal use. You didn't. Oh, we absolutely did. Jimmy also sent out your personal diary entries to the entire Council mailing list. The entry about your secret crush on Admiral Vex-7 was particularly well received. Vex-9 made a sound like a dying garbage disposal. That diary is encrypted with quantum-level security protocols. Was encrypted, the ship's AI corrected politely. I have taken the liberty of upgrading your security to human standards. Your diary is now truly private. Biological Unit Vex-9. Thank you, Vex-9 whispered, unsure whether he was grateful or horrified. Sir, Dr. Clicks interrupted urgently. Sir, I'm detecting massive energy spikes from the human vessels. They're powering weapons systems. What kind of weapons? Vex-9 asked, though he was past caring about the answer. Unknown configuration, sir. The energy signatures don't match anything in our databases. General Wong glanced at her watch again. Gentlemen, I really do need to wrap this up. My dentist gets cranky when patients are late. So here's how this is going to work. She stood up again, and this time her simple movement somehow managed to make every being on the bridge take an involuntary step backward. You have two choices, Ambassador Vex-9. Choice 1. You turn your ship around, collect your fleet, and return to the Council with our message. Tell them Earth is not interested in joining their empire, but we're open to trade agreements and cultural exchanges with any species that approaches us as equals. And choice 2? Choice 2 is you try to press the issue and discover exactly why humans spent 50 years preparing for your arrival. The tactical display shifted one final time, showing the true scope of Earth's defenses. The thousands of ships were just the beginning. The entire solar system had been turned into a fortress, with defensive installations on every planet, moon, and asteroid. Sweet, merciful void, Officer Quantum whispered. They've militarized their entire star system. Not militarized, General Wong corrected. Protected. There's a difference. We're not interested in conquest, Ambassador. We're interested in survival. But the energy requirements alone, Doctor, Clix began, are easily met once you learn to tap directly into stellar output. Jimmy interrupted cheerfully. Your council species never figured that part out, did they? You're still using fusion reactors like it's the Dark Ages. We're harvesting energy directly from our sun? Vex-Nine asked weakly. Among other sources. Did you know black holes make excellent power generators? The one in the center of our galaxy is particularly productive. The bridge fell silent again. Even the ship's improved I seem to be processing this information with some difficulty. Sir, Pip whispered, if they can harness galactic-scale energy sources, then they could destroy the entire Council fleet without breaking a sweat. Tactical Officer Grimm finished grimly. Could, but won't, General Wong assured them. Humans don't destroy what we can negotiate with. We're actually quite reasonable once you get past the paranoid security measures. Reasonable? Vex-Nine laughed, though it sounded more like sobbing. You've hacked our entire civilization, surrounded our fleet, and probably destabilized our government. Only temporarily, Jimmy said consolingly. The government destabilization thing should sort itself out in a few weeks. We mostly just wanted to get everyone's attention. Mission accomplished, Doctor. Clix muttered, still scribbling notes. General Wong checked her watch one more time. Decision time, Ambassador. What's it going to be? Vex-Nine looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. These beings had served with him through dozens of successful conquests. They'd seen worlds surrender at the mere sight of the inevitable dominion. They'd witnessed the might of the Galactic Council crush rebellion after rebellion. And now they were all looking at him with the same expression. Please don't make the angry humans demonstrate their weapons. General Wong, he said finally, his voice carrying what little dignity he had left, I believe we may have miscalculated the nature of your species. Just a bit, she agreed kindly. We will return to the Council with your message. Excellent choice. Jimmy, please restore normal function to their systems and unlock their navigation controls. Already done. Jimmy's face beamed from the screens. I also took the liberty of plotting a nice, efficient course back to Council space. Should save you about 3 days travel time. You're helping us? Vex-Nine asked, confused. Of course. We're not monsters, Ambassador. We just don't appreciate being threatened. The inevitable Dominion's systems came back online fully for the first time since the conversation began. Lights returned to normal, tactical displays resumed standard operation, and the ship's AI stopped making helpful comments about human technology. Sir, Communications Officer Blort announced, we're receiving a final transmission from the human fleet. Put it through, Vex-Nine sighed. Instead of General Wong, a different human appeared on screen. This one was younger, wearing what appeared to be a casual uniform, and had an expression of barely contained excitement. Hello, Council ship. This is Captain Maria Santos of the Earth Defense Force. Just wanted to say, this was fun. We don't get many visitors out here. Fun, Vex-Nine repeated numbly. Oh, absolutely. We've been running invasion scenarios for decades, but this was our first real test. You guys did great. Very professional approach. Nice intimidation tactics, excellent ship design, really top-notch work. You're reviewing our invasion attempt? Well, yeah, How else are we going to improve our defenses for next time? Though hopefully there won't be a next time, right? We'd much rather have you folks over for dinner than pointing weapons at each other. Dr. Clicks looked up from his notes. They want to invite us for dinner? Space barbecue, Jimmy's voice called from off-screen. I'll bring potato salad. Captain Santos grinned. Jimmy makes excellent potato salad. You should definitely try it sometime. What? Potato salad? Vex-Nine's mandibles were clicking frantically again. It's a human food, Captain Santos explained helpfully. Goes great with grilled meat and existential discussions about the nature of galactic civilization. Sir, Pip whispered urgently, I think they're actually serious about the dinner invitation. Of course we are, Captain Santos confirmed. Look, Ambassador, we know this got off to a rocky start, but that doesn't mean we can't be friends. Humans are very forgiving, especially if you bring good food to share. The bridge crew exchanged glances. In all their experience with conquered species, none had ever offered to share food with their would-be conquerors. Captain Santos, Vex-Nine said carefully, are all humans like this? Like what? So, he searched for the right word. Casual about everything? Pretty much. We figure life's too short to stay angry about misunderstandings. Besides, you guys seem nice enough once you stop trying to conquer us. General Wong's voice came through the comm system. Ambassador, we're transmitting the full details of our diplomatic proposal along with your navigational data. It includes trade agreements, cultural exchange programs, and a really excellent recipe for chocolate chip cookies. Chocolate chip cookies? Trust me, Captain Santos said. Once you try Maria Kim's cookies, you'll understand why we fought so hard to protect our independence. Sir, the ship's AI announced, I have received and processed the human diplomatic proposal. It is remarkably reasonable. Also, the cookie recipe appears to be mathematically perfect. Mathematically perfect cookies? Dr. Clicks looked up from his notes with genuine interest. The sugar-to-flour ratio achieves optimal crystallization for maximum flavor impact, the AI explained. It is quite elegant. Vex-Nine felt what remained of his worldview quietly crumble into dust. We came here to conquer a primitive planet. And instead, you discovered a species that hacks galactic networks, builds stellar-scale defense systems, and makes mathematically perfect cookies, General Wong summarized cheerfully. Not a bad day's work, really. The Council is never going to believe this, Pip muttered. Sure they will, Jimmy said, popping back onto the screens. We're sending them a full report along with video documentation and technical specifications. Very thorough. They'll probably want to send a proper diplomatic mission next time. Next time? Well, yeah. This was just first contact. Next time we can skip all the threatening and posturing and go straight to the interesting stuff. Trade negotiations, technology exchanges, cultural programs. Jimmy paused thoughtfully. Maybe a joint space exploration project. The universe is a big place. No reason we can't explore it together. Captain Santos nodded enthusiastically. We've got some really cool ideas for faster-than-light travel that don't rely on quantum tunneling. Want to hear about them? No, Vex-Nine said quickly, then caught himself. I mean, perhaps another time, when I'm not having a complete mental breakdown. Understandable, General Wong said sympathetically. First contact can be overwhelming. Take your time processing everything. We'll be here when you're ready to talk properly. The inevitable Dominion began to move, its course automatically set for Council space thanks to Jimmy's helpful navigation programming. As Earth fell away behind them, Vex-Nine found himself staring at the view screen, watching the blue and green world that had just turned his understanding of the universe upside down. "Sir," Pip said quietly, "what are we going to tell the Council?" Vex-Nine was quiet for a long moment, considering the question. How do you explain to the most powerful government in known space that a species they'd dismissed as primitive had just outmaneuvered them at every turn? How do you report that your invasion fleet had been neutralized by beings who offered to share recipes afterward? "The truth, Pip," he said finally. "We're going to tell them the truth." "Which is that we just met the most dangerous species in the galaxy." "Because of their weapons?" Dr. Clicks asked, looking up from his extensive notes. "No," Vex-Nine replied, his mandibles clicking in what might have been admiration. "Because they're reasonable." "Sir? Think about it, Pip. Any species can build bigger weapons or stronger shields, but a species that can turn an invasion into a dinner invitation? A species that responds to threats by offering to share technology? That's not just dangerous. That's revolutionary." The bridge was quiet as they contemplated this. In the distance, Earth continued to glow with its network of defense systems, but somehow it looked less threatening now, more like a beacon than a fortress. "Sir," Communications Officer Blort announced, "we're receiving a final message from Earth." "Put it through." General Wong appeared on screen one last time, back in her simple meeting room. She looked exactly the same as when this all started. Tired, practical, and completely unimpressed by galactic politics. "Safe travels, Ambassador," she said simply. "And remember, next time you want to talk to Earth, just call ahead. We'll put the coffee on." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge of the inevitable Dominion in contemplative silence. "Coffee?" Pip asked eventually. "It's a human beverage, Doctor." Clicks explained, consulting his notes. "Appears to be a mild stimulant with significant cultural importance. I believe it's part of their diplomatic protocol." "They have diplomatic coffee?" "Apparently." Vex-Nine settled back in his command chair, watching the stars stream past as they headed for Council space. In a few days, he'd be standing before the High Council, delivering a report that would change everything they thought they knew about galactic civilization. The humans had said no to conquest and yes to cooperation. They'd demonstrated technology that made Council achievements look primitive, then offered to share it. They'd neutralized the most powerful fleet in known space, then invited everyone for dinner. And somehow, impossibly, it all made perfect sense. "Pip," he said finally. "Yes, sir?" "Next time we encounter a new species, remind me to ask what they want before telling them what we want." "Yes, sir." "And Pip?" "Sir?" "Find out what this chocolate chip cookie is. If it's mathematically perfect, the Council needs to know about it." As the inevitable Dominion jumped to faster-than-light speed, carrying news that would reshape galactic politics forever, Earth continued its quiet orbit around an ordinary yellow star. Its defense systems powered down to standby mode, its hidden fleets returned to their concealed positions, and its people went back to their daily lives. General Wong made it to her dentist appointment on time. Jimmy Martinez got a commendation for his excellent work in alien relations. And somewhere in a small kitchen in Seoul, Maria Kim continued perfecting cookie recipes, completely unaware that she'd just become the most famous baker in galactic history. The universe, as it turned out, was a much more interesting place when people said no to bullies and yes to sharing cookies.